They told her it would be quick, a ride, a conversation, nothing dangerous, and that is the scariest part of this story, because the moment she realized she was in danger, it was already too late. The door slammed, the world went dark, and within minutes she was sealed underground with nothing but dirt, silence, and her own breath. This is not a story about strength in the gym or courage in movies. This is about how a normal woman survived 11 days buried alive, using nothing except her mind, her body, and an unbreakable decision to stay conscious. Her name was Barbara. On the morning it happened, she was doing something painfully ordinary, running errands, thinking about work, thinking about what she would cook later. Her mind was full of small plans, the kind we all make without realizing how fragile they are. When she accepted the ride, she had no reason to panic. People don't wake up expecting to disappear into the ground. When she came back to awareness, the first thing she noticed was pressure, heavy, crushing pressure on her chest. She tried to move her arms and couldn't. She tried to scream and realized her mouth was gagged. Then the smell hit her, raw earth, damp soil, and something metallic. That was the moment her brain finally accepted the truth. She was underground, buried alive. Panic exploded instantly. Her heart slammed against her ribs, stealing the oxygen she desperately needed. Every instinct told her to thrash, scream, fight. But fighting wasted air, and air was already disappearing. She forced herself to stop moving. That decision, made in pure terror, may have saved her life. She started counting her breaths, in through the nose, out slowly. She remembered something she had once heard. Oxygen doesn't run out as fast as panic makes you think. Panic kills faster than suffocation. So she made a deal with herself. No crying, no screaming, no begging, only thinking. The box she was in was barely larger than her body. She couldn't sit up, she couldn't turn around. The dirt above her pressed down like a ceiling made of stone. Time became meaningless. Without light, minutes felt like hours, hours felt like days. To keep her mind from breaking, she created routines. She counted numbers. She replayed memories in exact detail, walking through her childhood home, naming every object in every room. She talked to herself silently, narrating what she would do when she got out, as if escape was already guaranteed. Hunger came next, then thirst. Her mouth became dry. Her tongue felt too big for her jaw. She realized that survival now depended on something most people never think about: moisture. Every drop mattered. She stopped swallowing unless she had to. She breathed as slowly as possible to reduce water loss. When condensation formed on the walls of the box, she used her fingers to gather it and lick it off, one careful movement at a time. Darkness began to play tricks on her mind. She heard voices that weren't there. She felt movement when nothing moved. At one point, she became convinced that she was already dead and this was some kind of punishment. That thought almost ended her. Instead of fighting it, she challenged it. Dead people don't get thirsty, she told herself. Dead people don't plan. Dead people don't hope. As long as she could think, she was alive. Every day she set one goal: stay conscious. Sleep felt dangerous, too close to giving up. So she rested in short bursts, waking herself by tapping her fingers against the wall. She sang songs in her head. She recited anything she could remember: poems, prayers, random facts, anything to keep her brain active and anchored to life. Above ground, people were searching, but underground, Barbara didn't know that. All she knew was that rescue might never come, and still she refused to mentally say goodbye. She imagined the feeling of sunlight on her face. She imagined standing up, stretching her legs, breathing deeply without fear. She imagined telling this story in her own voice. On the 11th day, when her strength was almost gone and her thoughts were slowing, she heard it, a sound that didn't belong to the darkness, a vibration, faint, distant, then louder, digging. At first, she thought it was another hallucination. She waited. The sound came again, dirt shifting, tools striking soil. She used the last of her energy to tap the wall, weak but intentional. Tap, pause, tap. The sound above stopped. Then came shouting, real voices, human voices. When the box was finally opened, light stabbed into her eyes. Air rushed into her lungs so fast it hurt. She couldn't speak, she couldn't move, but she was alive. 11 days, buried alive, and she came back. Later, doctors said her survival made no sense. Too little air, too little water, too much time. But what they couldn't measure was the thing that mattered most, her refusal to let her mind surrender before her body did. This story isn't just about survival underground. It's about what happens when a human being decides that quitting is not an option, even when every signal says it should be. Because sometimes the difference between life and death is not strength, luck, or rescue. Sometimes it's the quiet, stubborn voice inside that says, "Not yet."